I know what you're all thinking. War, terrorism, dictators, and egg prices? Damn. Touching grass just really isn't what it used to be, huh? And as such, you might be wondering, how can I take a step back and just forget about it all for a little bit? And maybe you don't have a fancy PlayStation 6 or whatever, with an air-conditioned gaming room in the basement. And maybe PC gaming just isn't quite your thing right now either, as maybe you'd like your house not to combust in fire while booting up Indiana Jones in this latest Nvidia-sponsored California Solidarity campaign. Maybe you just have a phone, and not even one of those fancy gaming ones, but like this one or something. And you'd just like to play some games. No fires, no exorbitant prices, just a good chill time. So naturally then, you're wondering, what games do I even play? How do I actually escape? And is there maybe some random bloke on the internet who can help out? And, well, would you believe it if I said I've given this exact question some thought? I could even have some suggestions that you might find helpful. In fact, I might even have 5 suggestions for some great games that you can check out right now. And most of these games are available on PC as well, so even if you swing that direction, you should be fine. While picking these games, to stay on brand for the video, I considered the following criteria. Number 1, chillness. Not exactly a scientific measurement or anything, but just generally how chill and calm I felt while playing the game. We're trying to avoid the heart rate busters here, however, we still want some stakes to keep things interesting, of course. Number 2, immersion. This one's very simple. How little did I think about the real world while playing this game? And number 3, violence. I mean, this one should be pretty self-explanatory. We're trying to stay away from war after all. Ideally, we're not out here to kill or destroy, but rather we have some other primary goal. And all of these criteria had to be taken into account as a whole, of course. So a game could maybe be violent or even frightening, as long as it did better in some other criteria, like not reminding me too much of the real world. And it should also go without saying, but I was also looking for games without in-app purchases here, of course, as our bank accounts are very much figments of the real world and we're trying to get away from all that. And I would never really recommend games with shitty monetization on this channel anyways. This time, I just had a second reason not to. So, with all of that out of the way, this is my list of games to make you forget about the indisputably least chill timeline. In Spiritfarer, you play as a little seafarer tasked with bringing the recently deceased into the afterlife on your very own customizable little ship. And while Spiritfarer is no stranger to death, obviously, considering the entire afterlife thing, its hopeful and charming characters ultimately make the final vibes much more sweet than sad. And mixed with very familiar looting and crafting mechanics, not to mention a vast ocean to explore, even if the story isn't quite for you, there's plenty more here to keep you distracted as well. Stardew Valley needs no introduction, of course. Originally an attempt to bring games like Harvest Moon into the modern day, it has already become everything those old games were and so much more. And being centered around an in-game escape from the hellish corporate in-game real world, what better game to also escape from the real world? And the phone port is great as well, having most of the countless free updates the game has received over the last decade, for a very low price or even included in the Play Pass subscription if you have it. So, if you're into the idea of starting yet another farm to help you escape the evil megacorp, then this is a great place to do it. Suzy Cube has long been probably the best 3D platformer on mobile, and encapsulates the effortless joy of franchises like Mario, but more committed to being a fun time on your phone than whatever this was. And while it certainly carries its inspirations on its sleeve, it throws enough curveballs at you throughout to keep it more than interesting. The same way Astrobot brought Mario Galaxy to PlayStation last year, Suzy Cube brought Mario 3D Land to mobile like a decade ago. And yes, with a very different scope and budget, sure, but still with that same love for the original games easily shining through. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about my favorite game from the last couple of years, especially in a list where it fits this well: Laya's Horizon. Imagine a world where everyone is living peacefully on an island shadowed by a large mountain. And the only thing on anyone's mind is how to float the furthest using homemade cloaks after throwing themselves off the tallest peak of said mountain. And, well, yeah, that's mostly it. You've basically described this game. While the controls have a bit of a learning curve, I find their complexity makes the game very rewarding to come back to. And when the in-game characters talk about the nuances and difficulties of flying, it's no longer some random bit of in-universe lore that has since been abstracted away for players through oversimplified controls. But rather, you feel that complexity, and it makes the experience all the more immersive, I think. Now, this is a Netflix game, full disclosure, so if you're among the people that have already ended their relationship with Netflix after all the recent price hikes and the addition of ads and whatever else, this game alone probably isn't gonna win you back, nor should it, honestly. But if you still have a password laying around somewhere, well, might as well get the most out of it. And finally, we round it all off with perhaps the king, or queen maybe, of chill mobile gaming, Monument Valley. Playing as a princess rediscovering her memories while traversing a mind-trippy, surreal world, soft colors, fluid animations, and an ethereal soundscape should be enough to immerse just about anyone for a couple of hours. With the third game just coming out, there's really no correct answer for which of the installments to go to here. I generally recommend going back to the original, especially if you haven't played any of them before, as it's one of those early-ish phone games that have held up just about flawlessly. Which is wild for something that came out while the iPhone 5 was still in circulation. It truly was ahead of its time, where even today, few games are bringing quite that same vision and polish. But if you feel played out on the original two games, there's also that new one now to really dig into as well. At least, if you still remember that Netflix password. And there you go. 5 great mobile games to keep your mind off the current speedrun happening for the end of the world. If you'd like some more recommendations, feel free to click on any of the videos on screen right now for some more games you can check out. And now you should have everything you need to make a successful getaway, at least for a couple of days.